Hey everyone. So, hey everyone, I'm Kevin Fischer, and I'm going to talk about cognitive enhancement tonight. And I think I need to raise this. Alright, we can go to the next slide. So, there's a lot of low-hanging fruit in cognitive enhancement that I'm going to discuss because it's so easy to take care of and not something most people are focused on. Namely, that is sleep and water. Very important. Then I'm going to briefly talk about some drug interventions, and then we're going to talk about a culture of human cognitive enhancement. And this would be better if I could raise this.
It goes like this. So say when.
That's good? We're good? I'll take it. Alright, thanks. So, start by optimizing sleep. So many adults go through their entire lives in the state of chronic sleep deprivation, and people have this sense that they've adjusted to it, that they've adapted to it, but they really haven't. They've just accepted that they're operating at this level of dissociation and baseline anxiety and discomfort that you get whenever you're chronically sleep deprived. So 7 or 8 hours of sleep a night is much, much, much better than 5 or 6 hours of sleep a night. And every extra hour you can get helps. Whether 9 or 10 hours of sleep a night is better for you than 7 or 8 hours of sleep is debated. It's reasonably well established that it's worse for you if you're optimizing for longevity, that people that sleep that much don't live as long. But some of the highest intellectual achievers, particularly people doing the highest levels of math, prefer sleeping 9 or 10 hours a night. I recommend installing Flux on your computer. This is a software tool that shifts the light on your screen towards the red spectrum, and there's a lot of evidence that red light at night helps one go to sleep. Additionally, just red lights at night help a lot instead of the typical blinding fluorescent lights. In addition, make sure you sleep in a dark room. That gets some good blackout curtains or a sleep mask otherwise. Alright, and so melatonin is an absolutely incredible supplement. I look at taking melatonin nightly as literally ingesting free time. That it's like you were able to sleep for 30 or 45 minutes more without having to actually do it. So one of the problems with melatonin is that it's something a lot of people have tried, but because of the push at drugstores of how shelf space works, the dosages get higher and higher. That a lot of people will go to a drugstore and come home with a 10 milligram dosage of melatonin, which is way, way, way too high. That it's very well documented that it's more effective at smaller dosages. The 300 microgram dose is a good place to start, and you can get pills like that online or at Trader Joe's. The principal side effect of melatonin is vivid dreams, vivid weird dreams, and that seems to happen consistently and maybe a benefit depending on what you're looking for. Next slide. So if the low dosages of melatonin aren't quite enough for you, please don't give up on sleep. Sleep is amazing. 5-HTP is a prodrug for serotonin and feels a lot like melatonin. It has the side effect of causing vivid happy dreams. And GABA is another neurotransmitter. It feels like physical sedation. And you can safely mix these. It's not something I would recommend doing every night, but if you pick 2 of the 3 of melatonin, 5-HTP, or GABA, you should safely and comfortably get to sleep. And 3 of those 3 together is enough to knock out a lot of chronic insomniacs. Next slide. So beyond sleep, I'm an enormous fan of water. It's really good for you. Your body's made of it. I look at the gallon a day, that's a conventional medical recommendation, as a bare minimum. You can go well beyond a gallon a day, and whenever you're ingesting so much water, your body can safely tolerate more electrolytes. So this means that if you're drinking a lot of water, you can liberally salt your food, but electrolytes are more than just sodium. Potassium seems to be the most powerfully mind-altering of the electrolytes for a cognitive enhancement sense. So there's a lot of electrolytes out there. I strive for full spectrum sources of them whenever possible. You can go to the next slide. So for sodium, my recommended source is pink salt, or Himalayan rock salt, or Pakistani pink salt, which is 98% sodium, 2% calcium, and a whole bunch of other trace minerals. For magnesium, I really like concentrate supplements. It's the water from the Great Salt Lake in Utah with the sodium removed, and once you do that, you have almost nothing but magnesium left. And this seems to be the only form of magnesium that's really well absorbed. Magnesium is often recommended as a laxative. It's like something it's supposed to do. And whenever magnesium is going right through you like that, it is not being absorbed. And concentrates is much less of a laxative than other magnesiums. and is a full spectrum source of trace minerals. For calcium, red mineral algae, there's a bunch of evidence that it's much better absorbed than straight up calcium. And unfortunately for potassium, I have not been able to find a natural full spectrum source of it. Coconut water is pretty high in potassium, but also really high in sugar. So for potassium, I supplement bulk potassium citrate, which you can get from Amazon. 2.5 grams, or about 50% of the recommended daily value. And this is way beyond what the medical establishment thinks is safe or reasonable to supplement with potassium. It's very highly regulated in the scheme of supplements. If you buy a pill of potassium, it is not allowed to have more than 99 milligrams of potassium, or 3% of the recommended daily value. This is because potassium really is reasonably dangerous in the scheme of supplements. Don't take it if you have a heart condition, or liver or kidney problems, or a propensity for stomach ulcers. It can cause problems. But if you don't have a body that you have reason to believe won't tolerate it, just drink it with lots of water and it feels great. Next slide. All right, so I say these things about electrolytes and people think, oh, okay, well I can go to the store and buy smart water or electrolyte enhanced water. That is like the idiocracy, Brando. It does not have reasonable amounts of electrolytes in it. It's pretty comparable to any kind of spring water you can buy. So basically the only water that's available on the shelves in the USA that actually has high amounts of electrolytes in it is the German mineral water, Apollinaris, which is high in sodium and magnesium, which is a combination of minerals that's readily absorbed by the body. And if you drink an entire bottle of this, you should be able to notice that it's acutely stimulating. There do exist high potassium mineral waters out there in the wild that might be a safer source of potassium, but they're only in Eastern Europe, and I've tried really hard to find a source of them, and as far as I can tell, you can only buy them by the shipping container. So if anyone has a place to store a shipping container worth of mineral water, let me know and we'll get some. So just very briefly, some of my favorite supplemental interventions. So bacopa is an Indian herb that enhances working memory and particularly math ability. Paracetam is the classic nootropic, very well studied, very well tolerated, less harmful for you than sugar, and does things like decrease lifetime risk of Alzheimer's. It's just broadly good for you. And then modafinil is increasingly popular as a cognitive enhancement intervention. This is not one of those things that's broadly good for you, but it is probably safer than other stimulants and definitely more mild. If you get a prescription for it, you can legally go to a website and buy it. mymodafinil.com will do it. And it's much, much cheaper that way than if you get a prescription and then go to the drugstore.
Have you tried it?
Yeah, I take it quite regularly.
Are you on it now?
I'm not, but I cycle on and off for tolerance reasons. So question is, where do we go from here? That right now we're in a society where these things mostly aren't talked about in polite company. The 2008 Nature editorial talking about nootropic use among scientists was a big step forward, where Nature more or less came out and said, yes, it is good that scientists are taking these things. Science isn't a zero-sum game. It's sometimes competitive, but the entire world benefits whenever scientists are taking things that can help them do better science. My favorite step forward, or what I think might be the most important low-hanging thing, is to do legitimate double-blind research in undergraduates. That it's a great population because you have a very clear target in a GPA, so you don't have to do anything to quantify intelligence beyond that, but you can just look at, do these interventions improve GPA in undergraduates? And I would definitely be willing to bet that they do. So in addition, just helping build the anecdotal body of evidence really helps. There's not as much out there as we would like, so this gets back to the quantified self movement. If you take interventions, subjectively report what happens, keep a diary, or go to the quantitative steps and take testing that tells you how you're doing, that goes a long way. I'm a fan of the website quantified-mind.com. Is a pretty good place for keeping this kind of data on yourself. Next slide. So there really aren't that many people out there that are advocating to the world, that cognitive enhancement is something that should be done more broadly. So there's a lot of room out there. If anyone wants to step up and tell the world that drugs have made you smarter or better or more functional, it really helps. You know, we need to keep going from here. And I'm wondering how long it takes to get from where we are now to acknowledgement from the highest levels of science that cognitive enhancement interventions are good for science. And I won't be surprised if China or a government other than the United States is encouraging this long before the United States does. I'm going to make a prediction here that potent knowledge spreads really quickly. So I am going to predict that in 2022, more than 60% of US engineering undergraduate seniors will have tried more than once a nootropic of some kind or another. And we'll see. I'm optimistic. Yeah, I'm happy to take questions, but someone cut me off because the questions can go a really long time.
2 minutes for questions, yes, please.
Alex?
So you're using modafinil not to change the sleep you're getting, but to enhance your wakefulness.
That's right. I look at taking modafinil as kind of adding an extra hour or two of sleep. That if I only slept for 6 hours and take modafinil, maybe I'm as functional as if I slept for 8 hours.
Is there any drugs in the pipeline which you're looking forward to, like that haven't been really released to market yet?
There's a new one that came out that's a Russian drug called Nupept that will probably never really be released here, but it's just the strongest racetam out there now. And so it's 1,000 times the strongest paracetam by weight. And I've tried it, you can get it, it works. Though I'm not sure it's actually better for regular use than paracetam. Over there?
Which of the supplements that you mentioned have been studied in randomized controlled blind placebo-controlled studies?
Can you repeat the question?
So what supplements have been studied in double-blind, randomized, controlled placebo studies? So paracetam is very well studied. It was invented in the 60s. It's a Russian drug, and it's been studied for treating different diseases like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's, and that data is all out there. It definitely increases working memory. Bacopa has some research on it, not quite as much as paracetam. Modafinil, it's well established that it increases working memory. The electrolytes are not studied at all outside of a sports physiology context.
Oh, question up here.
Yeah, I noticed that you were discussing particular hours of sleep. Research I looked at seems fairly inconclusive, but what you're discussing is monophasic sleep. What about polyphasic sleep, where you can reduce your core sleep, still get enough of the deep sleep, but actually compress total sleep time while maintaining enough of the basic sleep and creating yourself that short naps that compensate for that?
So I know some people that are successfully on polyphasic sleep schedules. I know many, many more people that have tried and failed. It's something like, if you can get your body to do it and can really operate on less sleep like that, congratulations and more power to you. But given how much suffering is involved in getting on a schedule like that, I'm very reluctant to advocate it generally because it's not going to work for most people.
I think they're talking about extreme polyphasic sleep, where you have 6 20-minute naps and nothing else. I'm talking about 6 hours and then 2 20-minute naps.
Yeah, that's great. That works. Yeah, naps are wonderful. That's definitely established. Or even biphasic. It's perhaps more natural in the scheme of human history to sleep for 3 or 4 hours, be awake for 2 hours, and then sleep for 3 or 4 hours more. That also works if you're on a schedule that lets you do that.
I can attest to biphasic sleep. I've been on it for 2 years. I work night shift, and anybody who works third shift can get access to both Lithium and I can't remember the name of the other one, but
It's armodafinil, I think.
yeah, Nuvigil.
Nuvigil, yeah, exactly.
Nuvigil is actually, I prefer it. It's actually more effective for some reason. On me, I understand that it's dependent on your temperature. So
Right.
whichever one works. Point is, you might want to try both, not just give up on one.
Yeah.
That doesn't work.
Definitely. I've tried Nuvigil as well, and it does broadly work better for me, but it lasts a lot longer. So I don't take it if I don't have 18 hours of wakefulness ahead of me.
Because it seems to be fairly common, if you're taking Adderall or the other one, I can't remember. Ritalin, do not take the modafinil and Nuvigil with those. It's utterly will mess you up.
Bad cocktails.
Last question.
What do you think of
Yeah, creatine certainly works to enhance intelligence, particularly in vegetarians or vegans. If you are a vegetarian or vegan, I would very much recommend taking creatine.
Creatine? Well, no, creatine is from a muscle. I used to take creatine for building muscle mass back when I was bodybuilding.
Right.
Really, it's very effective. You build muscle mass very quickly. However, it has a bad effect on your stomach. It causes nausea.
It helps you space it out during the day.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's all about how you
There's a
tolerate
brand new
it.
form of creatine called creatine hydrochloride that the world is still determining if it's a gimmick or not, but it's 50 times more soluble, which means you need a microdosage comparison. So the jury's still out.
Personally, I think the creatine ECL for myself.
You still take it? I quit taking it.
All right, well, I thank you very much. And if anyone does want to try some potassium,